Hi, it's Lauren. Welcome back to my craft room. I have some Halloween inspiration for you today. I am using Penguin Palace Mysterious Egypt stamp set and its coordinating dies. Now, I want to be clear, I don't associate Egypt with Halloween. I was a little worried when I was done making this card that people would assume, I don't know, that I'm taking the Egyptian culture and just pinning it to Halloween, but that's not true. I stamped and colored all of these adorable stamps and I absolutely love everything, but I wanted to just focus on the mummy for this card. So kind of like my card, if you saw on Instagram with the creature from the Black Lagoon or a swamp monster, I wanted to make another kind of classic Hollywood movie monsters. So this card is inspired from the mummy. Okay, just wanted to clear that up. I hope you guys know my intention from getting to know me on my channel here, but just in case. So I quickly show that I'm also going to be using some other Penguin Palace products, so I will have those linked down below, but right now I have some of the Twist and Pop Surprise Perfect Cuts die cuts. So there is a Polaroid style die cut as well as a rectangle that is the same size as the Polaroid, and I'm working on the rectangle, creating my scene to go inside of my little Polaroid frame image. And I'm also using the Desert Landscape Scene Builder dies and stencil set. It has this really cool stencil to help make kind of those sand dunes you see in Egypt or any other sandy desert. And I just love that I can use two different tones to create these sand dunes without having to do any type of masking, as I'm masking here, but it creates that really cool look to create my desert landscape. So in order to fill in the rest of the sand, I'm just using some blue repositional tape to block off what I've already colored using the stencil, and then filling in the rest of my sand. And I used tea dye for the more brown portion of my sand, and I used dried marigold for the orange side of my sandy dunes from the desert. And now I'm blocking off those sand stenciled in images so I can add some blue sky. So again, just using that same tape, making sure it's really stuck down, because I know this mint tape from scrapbook.com sometimes has a hard time sticking to areas that you've already used Distress Oxide. So just doing my best to keep that in place. And then I brought out Tumbled glass to distress the background of my sky. So I have this for two different scenes. That way I could create scenes on both sides of my Twist and Pop Surprise die cut. So here is one scene that has kind of those two different sand dunes, and then the one on the left has one, and then I have die cut two of the frames. So now I'm going to go through and just pick out some images that made me think of the Mummy movie and place them where I want them to go onto each of my scenes. I'm going to glue down one of my frames to my rectangle piece that I created my stenciled background. And then I will also use wet glue to adhere the images inside of that frame. So these are going to be the center of the Twist and Pop Surprise die cut. So I'm just going to quickly put these together. For this Polaroid, all three of these images are just going to be glued straight down. I did decide to put in the little turquoise beetle instead of the scorpion on this side because I realized I didn't have anything turquoise in color on that particular frame. And then I'm going to glue in my mummy and its sarcophagus. For the coffin or the sarcophagus, I glued around the edge because the die cut does cut out the cute little door for the mummy to come out of. And then I glued down the scorpion and mummy. And then for the door of the coffin, I used an extra thin foam square and just trimmed it so that way the door would stay closed but also still had a little bit of dimension. And then I also didn't need to worry about filling in the inside of the sarcophagus because it's die cut and it shows the blue and sandy background. So keeping it closed would hide the fact that it's just a die cut piece. So now that my two Polaroid pictures are done, we can work on gluing the rest of this together. So this was my first time filming myself use the Twist and Pop dies, and so I will accidentally fold it the wrong way, but I will correct it. But before I get to gluing, I wanted to finish all my stamping, so I grabbed a Happy Halloween sentiment from a Lawn Fawn set. It fit nicely in the smaller label die, so just using VersaFine and Onyx Black, I went ahead and stamped that. So you're going to fold the pieces on the score line that is impressed into the die cut when it's cut. And right now I have it folded backwards, which I will realize here once I'm done adding glue to one of my pieces that it doesn't fit anywhere. So I know I need to flip it the other way. So really easy just to flip the other way. And then I will glue these pieces down. It creates a nice border from the white paper. The white cardstock I use is a heavy cover stock from Nina, 110 pound, and then the rest of the paper I use is just regular cardstock. So I wanted to make sure that the parts that moved were durable, so I wanted to use a heavier cardstock. So for the first Polaroid, I added some wet glue to the little center tab, and this gives me some extra time to wiggle around that Polaroid paper because I did get it a little off-centered. So I'm trying to move it so it would be center and flush to that lip. And then I'm going to glue the Polaroid to the other side. I did add a little square from the die cuts of that Polaroid frame just to add some extra stability, since that little flap on the inside, I wanted the top of my pictures to also have that same center piece and stability throughout both sides. And now I will glue my labels together. So I have my sentiments and a plain white label to write my name in later when I send this card out. And then I use the larger frame die cut to add more of that turquoise blue like I have in my images on my little Polaroid picture frame. So now I'm just making sure I'm gluing these on correctly. You're going to glue a little bit on the left, and they just create these nice little flaps to help keep your card stable while it's being set up on, you know, a mantle or wherever this card's going to go once your card receiver receives it. So I'm gluing just to the left of my labels, and once I have those centered and nice, that will finish up this card. So here you can see it folded, and then you will twist the card open and it pops up, and you can twist it either way and it will sit nicely popped up on a table or mantle or wherever it will end up with your card receiver. So here is a final look at the card. I have it showing my little mummy coming out of its sarcophagus just to close out this video. I hope you enjoyed this fun little card. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll click like, and if you're new here, I hope you'll subscribe and come back. As always, you can find everything I use down below in the description box. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye!